Bo Nikal is the next UFC dominant champion of the middleweight division. Israel Adesanya beating almost every contender there is in the middleweight division, but I do not think that he's going to go out there and beat Bo Nikal. We're going to give every step and every fight Bo Nikal should take on the road to the UFC middleweight championship. And before we get into it, go down and smash that like button if you like this type of video. Subscribe with notifications turned on, and let's get into it. Bo Nikal's road to the UFC champion. Number 1. We're going to go Marc-Andre Barriault. I think this is a perfect fight for Bo Nikal's UFC debut. A guy that was getting taken down easily in his last fight with Anthony Hernandez. Get Bo Nikal out there striking with Marc-Andre Barriault for a second. Rock Marc-Andre Barriault. Show his striking has evolved and he's getting better as well, and do exactly what Anthony Fluffy Hernandez was able to do. Take down Marc-Andre Barriault and submit him. I think this is an easy highlight reel UFC debut for Bo Nikal. Let's make it happen. After that highlight level debut, we're going to give him to the Wolves inside of the top 25 of the UFC's middleweight division. His second fight versus the loser of Krzysztof Jotko and Brendan Allen. The winner of this fight probably deserves a top 15 fight in the middleweight division, but the loser, they're going to have a tough road ahead of them, as they are going to get Bo Nikal in March or February of 2023. I think it's a good matchup because Allen has very good jiu-jitsu skills, good kickboxing. Jotko has solid takedown defense and solid boxing. Will be a good test for Bo Nikal's second fight inside of the UFC. I think he gets past both guys in Krzysztof Jotko and Brendan Allen, and that's a win over Brendan Allen, a win over Krzysztof Jotko. In my opinion, that is enough to get you inside of the top 15. So at that point, we go on to number 11, right outside of the top 10 of the middleweight division, in Kelvin Gastelum, who, if you look at his MMA career, is not really doing too good inside of the UFC's middleweight division. I was thinking possibly a Derek Brunson, Jack Hermansson fight if they wanted to go a little bit faster of a route, or even if they wanted to go a slower route to do Bo Nikal, Kelvin Gastelum, then to do Derek Brunson and Jack Hermansson. But after he fights Kelvin Gastelum, who is a guy that has some pretty decent takedown defense, I still think he'll land the takedown on Kelvin, but that'll show just how good Bo Nikal really is in the middleweight division. And after the Kelvin Gastelum fight, either he fights the loser of Jack Hermansson and Derek Brunson, who will be ranked right around number 6, number 7 in the middleweight division. Would be a good step up for Bo Nikal in that division. Either way, if it's a Derek Brunson, Jack Hermansson fight, or if he just goes straight up and fights Marvin Vettori, either way, I'm liking the sound of it. So first off, Derek Brunson, Jack Hermansson, I'm going to actually add that to the list. I'm going to say number 4 fight is going to be Derek Brunson, Jack Hermansson loser, if Derek Brunson does not retire, because I think Derek Brunson loses that fight, but I don't know if he's going to retire or not. That's the only reason I kept him out of this slideshow right here. So after Gastelum, if Brunson doesn't retire, do the Brunson fight. But after that, we got Bo Nikal versus Marvin Vettori. I don't want to give him too big of a step up in competition and put him against a Robert Whittaker or an Alex Pereira, who can definitely go out there and knock him out. I want to give him the number 3 middleweight in the world that for sure, if he can get past Marvin Vettori, will earn him a UFC title fight in the middleweight division. So why not make that happen? Bo Nikal versus Marvin Vettori, main event of a UFC fight night. Winner gets a title shot versus Israel Adesanya if he's still fighting, Alex Pereira if he is still fighting, or maybe Hamzat Chimaev if he is the champion at that time. Then you have Bo Nikal, Hamzat Chimaev pay-per-view main event. You got Adesanya, Bo Nikal pay-per-view main event, whatever the case may be. So he starts off the career with a highlight level win over Marc-Andre Barriault on the main prelim of a pay-per-view. Then he goes on to the main card of a pay-per-view right here, fighting Krzysztof Jotko or Brendan Allen. Then he gets his first main event against Kelvin Gastelum in the middleweight division, goes out there, gets a good finish over Kelvin Gastelum, takes him down, and absolutely smashes him on the feet. Then he either gets a good step up against Derek Brunson or Jack Hermanson, depending on if either guy does retire. Then he will get the man, the myth, the legend, the ogre, Marvin Vettori in the middleweight division in a 5-round main event. And if Bo Nickal can go out there and do what he did to Gastelum, do what he's probably going to do to Jotko and Allen and Marc-Andre Barriault, if he can do something similar, or even just beats Marvin Vettori if they were to ever fight in this main event of a UFC fight night, that is obviously grounds for Bo Nickal to get a UFC title fight. And then we had the 5th fight or 6th fight, depending on if you give Derek Brunson, Jack Hermanson to him. His 5th or 6th fight in the UFC, Bo Nickal versus the champion, either Khamzat Chimaev, Israel Adesanya, or the man, the myth, the legend, Alex Pereira. Those are my fights Bo Nickal should take in the UFC. Given an easy one to start off, given a top 25 guy next, then after 2 good wins outside of the top 15, give him a journeyman Kelvin Gastelum, give him a top 5 Marvin Vettori, and give him a title fight. What do y'all think about the fights that Bo Nickal should take in the UFC's middleweight division? I think he wins every single one of these fights. Maybe not Marvin Vettori right now, but by the time this fight gets made, when Marvin is like 31, 32, and Bo Nickal's like 28 years of age, I think Bo Nickal will win that fight. What do y'all think about the matchups? Make sure to go down and smash that like button. Put your predictions for these matchups down below in the comment section. Subscribe with notifications turned on. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you in the next one. Cheesy Weezy.